Karen Red is accused of killing her police officer boyfriend. Here's what we know about the murder case. Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found unresponsive in the front yard of another officer's suburban home on a snowy morning 2 years ago. He was pronounced dead shortly after, and his girlfriend Karen Red was charged in his murder. Reed, 44, claimed innocence and alleged a far-reaching conspiracy among law enforcement officers to frame her in the killing. After a 9-week trial and 5 days of deliberations in a Norfolk County courthouse just outside Boston, jurors remained deadlocked. A judge declared a mistrial on July 1. After prosecutors vowed to retry Reed, a judge scheduled a new trial for April 1. Reed was charged with second-degree murder, motor vehicle manslaughter, while driving under the influence and leaving the scene of a collision causing death. Her lawyers have asked the judge to dismiss those charges, saying in court filings that jurors unanimously agreed to acquit Reed on 2 of the charges, including murder. Prosecutors have opposed the defense's request, describing it as legally inappropriate and premised on conjecture and hearsay. On August 23, 2024, the judge overseeing the case denied the defense's request, saying the jurors never said they'd reached a verdict in open court. Here's how the trial played out. O'Keefe, 46, had been an officer with the Boston Police Department for 16 years when he died January 29, 2022. He'd been with Red, an equity analyst at Fidelity Investments, for 2 years. According to Norfolk County Assistant District Attorney Adam Lally, troubles in the couple's relationship appeared to intensify in the months before O'Keefe's death, including during a New Year's trip to Aruba. In court, one of Reed's lawyers acknowledged that the couple had occasional disagreements, but said they were making long-term plans. On the night of January 28, 2022, Reed's defense lawyer David Giannetti said, "The couple seemed fine while out at a bar in a Boston suburb with other current and former law enforcement officers. After leaving the bar, Reed later told first responders she argued with O'Keefe before dropping him off at an after-party at the home of Brian Albert, a now retired Boston sergeant who'd also been at the bar," Lally said. Reed's lawyers have said that she went out looking for her boyfriend when she realized he had never come home from the party. Reed, who had sought help from 2 other women in her search, spotted his body outside Albert's house on the morning of January 29, Lally said. One of the women then dialed 911. O'Keefe was pronounced dead at 7:50 am. At a hospital, the prosecutor said. The medical examiner attributed his cause of death to blunt force trauma to the head and hypothermia. Lally cited the couple's troubled relationship and alleged that Reed backed her Lexus SUV into O'Keefe outside Albert's home, causing a skull fracture and brain bleed. Reed left him there to die, even though Reed said she'd dropped O'Keefe off at Albert's home. The assistant DA said that no one at the after-party recalled seeing O'Keefe inside. They saw the SUV pull up to the house, the prosecutor said, then leave, and they assumed no one from the vehicle was joining them. But vehicle data from Reed's SUV showed that at 12:45 am, while outside Albert's home, the Lexus travelled backward for 60 feet at 24 mph, Lally said. The SUV's tail light was broken, Lally said, and pieces of the light were later found outside Albert's home. Forensic testing showed that O'Keefe's hair was found on the vehicle's bumper and his DNA was found on the taillight, Lally said. Investigators also found the remnants of a cocktail that appears to have been spilled on the bumper, the prosecutor said. O'Keefe was captured on video leaving the bar with a cocktail in his hand, and bits of what the prosecutor described as a drinking glass were found in the SUV's bumper. Reed was charged with second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter and other crimes. Reed's lawyers have challenged some of the prosecution's evidence and said that she was framed for a murder she didn't commit. During the after-party, the defense team alleged O'Keefe appeared to have been ambushed, beaten, bitten by a dog. The Alberts had a German Shepherd, and left outside. He was supposedly sprawled on that lawn, just feet from where these people were walking when they left the residence, defense lawyer David Yannetti said in his opening statement. Not one of these people saw John O'Keefe. The defense blamed authorities for failing to carry out a real investigation because of close connections to Albert and his family. His brother is also a police officer, and instead focusing on Reed, whom Yannetti described as a convenient outsider. Colbert testified that O'Keefe never came to his house, but he would have been welcomed with open arms if he had. The defense lawyers have alleged that the lead investigator in the case, Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor, was one of the chief reasons the investigation was biased. In testimony, Proctor acknowledged referring to Reed using derogatory language in text messages with other troopers. In one instance, Proctor described Reed using an offensive term for developmentally disabled people and told other troopers in a text thread, including 2 supervisors, that he hadn't found any nude photos of Red while searching her cell phone. Proctor described the comments as regrettable and unprofessional jokes that did not obscure his ability to carry out an impartial investigation. Proctor was suspended without pay 7 days after the judge declared a mistrial. The defense also pointed to what Yannetti described as 2 curious phone calls between Albert and Brian Higgins, a friend and agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, who had been at the bar and after party. The calls were made at 2:22 a.m. after the party at Albert's house. Yannetti said, under questioning from the defense, Albert testified that his initial phone call to Higgins, which lasted 1 second, was accidental. He said he did not respond to a returned call that lasted 22 seconds. Higgins testified that he had no recollection of answering the phone or calling anyone back. Higgins testified that he and Red had become attracted to each other in the months before O'Keefe's death and had exchanged flirtatious texts. When another defense lawyer, Alan Jackson, asked Higgins if he'd become frustrated when Red ghosted him in the days before the party and paid no attention to him at the bar, Higgins responded, "No, not at all." According to defense attorney Yannetti, Reed's broken taillight didn't come from backing into O'Keefe, but from leaving her home in a panic after discovering in the pre-dawn hours of January 29 that her boyfriend had never come home. She backed into O'Keefe's car, Yannetti said, in an event that was captured on security camera. He added that authorities did not find the broken pieces of taillight during an initial search of Albert's yard. They only began finding them later in the day after Reed's car had been seized, Yannetti said. McCabe, Albert's sister-in-law, had also been at the bar and after party, and she was one of 2 women who'd gone looking for O'Keefe with Reed. Under cross-examination, defense attorney Jackson asked McCabe why she appeared to have shifted her account of Reed's reaction to finding O'Keefe's body. McCabe initially told a grand jury that she heard Reed wonder if she could have hit her boyfriend. "Did I hit him?" Jackson said, citing her testimony. But at trial, McCabe described Reed's reaction as a statement, "I hit him," that she said Reed declared 3 times to a paramedic who'd asked what happened to O'Keefe. "You've manufactured this story for this jury because you think it helps you out?" Jackson asked. "Absolutely not," she responded. Jackson also questioned McCabe about what he said a forensic extraction of her cell phone showed. At 2:27 a.m. on January 29, several hours before O'Keefe's body was found, he said she asked Google how long it takes for someone to die of hypothermia. Afterward, Jackson said McCabe deleted the search. McCabe denied searching for the phrase at that time. Around 2 a.m., she testified, she'd been searching for a basketball team her daughter had been invited to join. She said she didn't ask Google about hypothermia until several hours later, after she and Red had discovered O'Keefe's body, and she said Reed asked her to find the answer to that question. "I never would have left John O'Keefe out in the cold to die because he was my friend that I loved," she said. "What do you think happened that night? Or could someone else be involved? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.